हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। We are trying to understand what Prabhupada is explaining from this chapter of Dhruva Maharaj. So we saw how Narada came to Uttanapada to pacify him, and he understood because Uttanapada is a very great personality, and Narada don't want him to go through that pain so much. So he came and he is helping Uttanapada and he is pacifying. He's telling that, my dear king, your son is very competent. He will perform activities which would be impossible even for great kings and sages. Very soon he will complete his task and come back home. You should know that he will also spread your reputation all over the world. So this is actually what Sudaksharam karma kritva lokapalairapi prabhu aistat acharato achirato rajan yasho viplo viplayam stava. So he is going to do such very wonderful activities. And Prabhupada says that here in this verse, Narada Muni has described Dhruva Maharaj as Prabhu. This word is applicable to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes the spiritual master is addressed as Prabhupada. Prabhu means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Pada means post. According to Vaishnava philosophy, the spiritual master occupies the post of Supreme Personality of Godhead, or in other words, he is the bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord. Dhruva Maharaj also described here as Prabhu because he is an Acharya of the Vaishnava school. Another meaning of Prabhu is master of the senses, just like the word Swami. Another significant word is Sudaksharam, very difficult to perform. What was the task that Dhruva Maharaj undertook? The most difficult task in life is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of God. Dhruva Maharaj would be able to do that. We must remember that Dhruva Maharaj was not fickle. He was determined to execute his service and then come back. Every devotee, therefore, should be determined that in his life he would be able to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the process, go back home, by that process, go back home, back to Godhead. This is the perfection of highest mission of. And this is very important. So, what is important is to have the goal very clear. If the goal is clear, then our action will have motivation. Say now I am going somewhere, I know I have to reach this place. So the prayojan should be very clear for us. Then, then the sambandha and abhideya, the process which we are doing makes sense. Otherwise, why should I wake up every day morning and chant? Why should I hear Bhagavatam? Why should I do all these things? We should always keep our goal. We should always what do you say? Revise our goal. Okay, this is my goal. This is my goal. Even Stephen Covey, he says, start with end in mind. So this is his famous saying, start with end in mind. So if goal is very clear, then only when we are practicing something, it makes sense. Otherwise, we will get confused and no motivation. So here we hear that he was not fickle. He was determined to execute his service and then come back. And Prabhupada said, therefore, every devotee therefore should be determined that in his life he will be able to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by that progress go back home, back to Godhead. That is a perfection of highest mission of life. So mission should be very clear. And why we are not having determination is because our mission is not very clear. So that is the only thing. We are not able to go to forest and perform tapasya like Dhruva Maharaj to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because that much determination is not there. Maitreya Vacha iti devarshina proktam विश्रुत्या जगतीपति राजलक्ष्मी अनादृत्या पुत्रम् एवावचिन्तयन्. The great sage Maitreya continued. The king Uttanapada, after being advised by Narada Muni, practically gave up all duties in relation with his kingdom, which was very vast and wide, opulent like the goddess of fortune, and he simply began to think of his son Dhruva. So he really actually is a great personality. So he immediately could understand his mistake and is lamenting and repenting for it. Tatrabhikshata pratyasta uposya vibhavari समाहितः प्रयच्छद् प्रयच्छार्धा प्रस्यादेशेन पूरुषम्. Elsewhere, Dhruv Maharaj, having arrived at Madhuban, took his bath in the river Yamuna and observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so this is actually important point also, that as soon as we do achaman, we should touch water. So it immediately purifies us. Water has a capacity to purify. But what we should do is we should chant the mantra when we are taking water. Then it has a purifying effect. This is the research done by Japanese scientists also. You go to the water and you scold and abuse the water, and you take that water, that will damage you. You go to the water and you praise or you appreciate, and it will give you benefit, otherwise it will punish. So same thing, that's why we do achman. What is achman is basically we are chanting the mantra in the water. You have to look at the water and chant the mantra. When we do like that, then the water immediately gets purified. The vibrations of the mantra will change the structure of the water molecules, and when we take, it will affect our mind and it gets purified. So the effect of because whatever we take, the mind, one third of the water goes to the mind only. It affects a subtle level. That's the reason we do Achman. So here also, Dhruva Maharaj, he took bath in Yamuna, and these holy rivers are also called Tirthas. So Tirtha means what? We say Tirtha Sthan, like no. What is this Tirthas? Tirtha is a holy place, right? But the Tirtha, the holy place, the most important thing is the water of the place. So why water of the place? That's actually Tirtha. Why water of the place? Because the sages or great devotees or anybody who goes to that place and perform bhajan, kirtan, and meditation on the Lord, all their bhajan and all will affect the water of that place. And when we go and take dip in that water and we do achaman, immediately we get purified like that. So this is why we go to tirthas to take the water. What mantras to chant to do achaman? Keshavaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, and Govindaya Namaha. This is the four mantras. Of course, there is Achyuta, Ananta, Govinda, others they chant like that also. So any mantra means there are two mantras, but some chant Achyuta, Ananta, Govinda, but we chant Keshavaya Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha, Vishnuvaya Namaha, like that. The significance of this particular verse is Dhruva Maharaj acted exactly according to the advice of his spiritual master, great sage Narada. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti also advised that if you want to be successful in any attempt to go back to Godhead, we must seriously act to the instructions of the spiritual master. That is the way of perfection. There need to be no anxiety over attaining perfection, because if one follows the instructions given by the spiritual master, he is sure to attain perfection. Our only concern should be how to execute the order of spiritual master. The spiritual master is expert in giving special instructions to each of his disciple, and if the disciple executes the order of spiritual master, that is the way of perfection. So that means our purpose should be to somehow please the spiritual master, follow the instructions. Follow the instructions. Right? We need not so much worry about what to do because he already attained perfection. If I follow what Guru did, I'll also attain perfection. Triratrena Triratrena Kapita Badarasanaha Atmavatya Anusasena Manasam Ninye Archayan Harim. For the first month, Dhruv Maharaj ate only fruits and berries on every third day, only to keep his body and soul together. In this way, he progressed in his worship of the Supreme Personality of God. We can imagine what is the determination of Dhruv Maharaj. He is just eating only fruits and berries one every third day. So for a boy of that age to control his tongue and hunger is not very easy. But Dhruv Maharaj is not something ordinary. And then Prabhupada has very huge purport. He writes that Kapita is a flower which is known in India and vernacular as Kayeta. We do not find an English equivalent for the name of this flower, but this fruit is generally not accepted by human beings. It is eaten by monkeys in the forest. Dhruv Maharaj, however, accepted such fruits not for luxurious feasting, but just to keep his body and soul together. The body needs food, but a devotee should not accept foodstuffs to satisfy the tongue in sense gratification. So devotee should not accept food and should not accept foodstuffs to satisfy the tongue in sense gratification. Once in a while is okay, not every day. It is recommended in Bhagavad Gita that one should accept as much food as necessary to keep the body fit, but one should not eat for luxury. Dhruva Maharaj is an Acharya, and by undergoing severe austerities, actually we know this, but we have to hear again and again to remind ourselves not to do it. We all know that we should not eat luxurious food. We all know that we should not satisfy the tongue, but still we do. So that's the reason Prabhupada is writing again and again, and we have to hear again and again, so that at least now we heard this instruction. Maybe for at least today or for 1 week or 1 month, we may give it up, and again we'll come back. So again we have to hear. Dhrumada is an acharya, and by undergoing severe austerities and penance, he teaches how one should execute devotional service. Must carefully know the process of Dhrumara's service. How severely he passed his days will be shown in the later verses. We should always remember that to become a bona fide devotee of the Lord is not an easy task. But in this age, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it has been made very easy. This is actually the advantage we have. Mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So what Dhruv Maharaj has done, we need not do all these things. We just have to chant Hare Krishna only. We get the same benefit as Dhruv Maharaj got. That's what Prabhupada is telling. But if we do not follow even the liberal instructions of Lord Chaitanya, how can we expect to discharge our regular duties in devotional service? It is not possible in this age to follow Dhruv Maharaj in his austerity. But the principles must be followed. We should not disregard the regulative principles given by a spiritual master, for they make it easier to for the condition source. As far as ISKCON movement is concerned, we simply ask that one should follow 4 regulative principles. Chant 16 notes, and instead of indulging luxurious eating, Prabhupada is again and again telling luxurious eating for the tongue, simply accept prasad offered to the Lord. This does not mean that with our fasting the Lord should also fast. The Lord should be given foodstuffs which is as nice as possible, but we should make it a point to satisfy. We should not make it a point to satisfy our tongue. As far as possible, we should accept simple foodstuffs. Simple also will satisfy the mind. See, actually, the satisfaction of tongue is not satisfaction of heart anyway. It is only just a effect of dopamine. We are just clearing our dopamine. So it's not actually enjoyment. Real enjoyment comes in mode of goodness only, at least in this material world, not the spiritual enjoyment, but at least this material world enjoyment is goodness. So if you take simple substances, simple food and all, in that there is more pleasure, that type of pleasure. It is our duty to remember always that in comparison to Dhruva Maharaj, we are insignificant. We cannot do anything like that, what Dhruva Maharaj did for self-realization, because we are absolutely incompetent to execute such service. But Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we have been given all concession possible for this age. So at least we should always remember that neglect of our prescribed duties in devotional service will not make us successful in the mission we have undertaken. It is our duty to follow in the footsteps of Dhruva Maharaj, for he was very determined. So this is the most important instruction from Dhruva Maharaj is very determined. We should also be determined to finish our duties in executing devotional service in this life. We should not wait for another life to finish our job. द्वितीयं च तथामासं श्रेष्ठे स्थे षष्टि अर्भको दिने त्रिन् परिणादिभिः श्रीणा कृतानो अभ्यचयन् विभुम्. In the second month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only every 6 days, and from his eatables he took dry grass and leaves. Thus, he continued his worship once in 6 days. तृतीयं चान्ययं मासं नवे मे नवमे हनिम् अब अभक्ष उत्तमश्लोकम् उपाधावत् समाधिना. In the third month, he drank water only every 9 days. If we do like that, we will not be able to survive here in this age now. So it is not applicable for us. Don't try this. Thus, he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by selected verses. And there is a question, how the small child knows all these austerities? They are from different age. For them, that is actually the heroism. Like, so now, if a small child, who are second 2 years 3 years, they know all the movie songs, they know cricket players names, they know movie star names, and the songs also. 2 year 3 year child is also dancing the song and they know the actors and sports players, because that is a trend of this age. So that time the trend is the great sages. They might have heard about Narada, they know about Brahma, and they're Kshatriyas. So their trend is who is performing great austerities, who has attained what. So that is what is discussed that time. All the stories are of that personalities, because that is the heroes of that time. That is the trend of that time. Dhruva Maharaj might have heard about Kardam Muni. Dhruva Maharaj might have heard about Brahma's austerities, like that. So they know that okay, this is what they do, and you know it. Okay, Rasayan Katha provides some explanation for kapata fruits, also known as wood apple or elephant apple, is a tropical fruit native to South and Southeast Asia. It has a hard shell fruit with a creamy orange pulp, and its taste is described as blunt and sour and sweet. So that is actually the trend. For them, that is what they do. And in the fourth month, Dhruva Maharaj became a complete master of breathing exercise, and thus he inhaled air only every 12 days. In this way, he became completely fixed in position and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sitakan Rampro, you had some question. Yes, bro. We are not able to hear you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandasvana.
Then that's bro. But we are not able to hear you. Okay. In the fifth month, Dhruva, the son of king, has controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on only one leg, just as a column stands, without motion, and concentrated his mind fully on Parabrahma. Sarvato mana akrishya hridi bhutendriyashrayam dhyayan bhagavato rupam nadrakshit kinchana param. He completely controlled his senses and their objects, and in this way he fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada is writing, the yogic principles of meditation are clearly explained here. One has to fix one's mind upon the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead without diversion to any other objective. It is not that one can meditate or concentrate on an impersonal object. To try to do so is simply a waste of time, for it is unnecessarily troublesome, as explained in Bhagavad Gita. Adharmam mahat adhinam pradhana purusheshwaram brahmadharayamanasya trailokaschakpakai champak chakmapair. When Dhruva Maharaj thus captured the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the refuge of total material creation and who is the master of all living entities, third words began to tremble. So Prabhupada has a very nice purport in this. This says, in this verse, the particular word Brahman is very significant. Brahma refers to one who not only is greatest, but has the potential to expand to an unlimited extent. How was it possible for Dhruva Maharaj to capture Brahman within his heart? So this is also our question, right? And this is a question in the initial of Bhagavatam also. How is that supreme absolute truth can be understood within and he can be captured within our limited mind? We are limited and Brahman absolute truth is unlimited. How can it enter into us? So this question has been very nicely answered by Jiva Goswami. He says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is original Brahman. For since he comprises everything material and spiritual, there cannot be anything greater than him. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Supreme Godhead says, I am the resting place of Brahman. Many persons, especially Maya of the philosophers, consider Brahman the biggest, all expanding substances. But according to this verse, and other Vedic literature, such as Bhagavad Gita, the resting place of the Brahman is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as the residing place of the sunshine is a sun globe. Srila Jiva Goswami therefore says that since the transcendental form of Lord is the seed of all greatness, he is the Supreme Brahman. Since the Supreme Brahman was situated in the heart of Dhruva Maharaj, he became the heavier than the heaviest, and therefore everything trembled in all the three worlds and the spiritual world. What happened is Dhruva Maharaj doing in mode of passion, so it affected other living entities also. If we are doing devotional service in mode of passion, we create trouble to others. The Mahat Tattva, the sum total of material creation, is to be understood to be unlimited end of all universes, including all the living entities therein. Brahman is the resort of Mahat Tattva, which includes all material and spiritual entities. It is described in this connection that the Supreme Brahman, the personality of God, it is the master of both Pradhana and Purusha. Pradhana means subtle matter, such as ether. Purusha means the spiritual sparks, living entities who are entities in the subtle existence. Apashyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Chatat Apashrayam. When Vyasdev is saying, na, that time the Purusha is explained. Purusha means no restrictions, is unlimited Purusha. We are Purusha with restrictions. The analogy is like, say, we take a crystal. Crystal is very transparent. But if we keep a rose besides the crystal, Then what happened to the crystal? It start shining like pink or red or something. Now that means it is affected by something else. So we living entities, we are Purusha, but we are affected. We cannot be on our own. We either in the spiritual world or material world, we are already always with some matter which is affecting us. But when it comes to the Supreme Lord, he is a Purusha, but with no restrictions, is unlimited Purusha. That is the difference. So here, there may be described as Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti. So here, Prabhupada is explaining these things that Prabhupada gives some very technical things also. And being controlled by both the Prakritis and is thus the master of Pradhana and Purusha. So Krishna he is a Purusha without restrictions, but we are either affected any of these things. Is described as Ananta Prashva Shastra. Thus indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead is controlling everything and entering into everything. The Brahma Samhita also confirms Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastha. He has entered not only the universe but even the atom. Krishna also says, Vishtabhyaham idam Krishna. Ekam Shena Sthito Jagat. Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart, Dhruva Maharaj, naturally became equal to the greatest Brahman by his association and thus became the heaviest and the entire universe trembled. In conclusion, a person who always concentrates on the transcendental form of Lord within his heart can very easily strike the whole world with wonder at his activities. This is the perfection of yoga performance as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yoginam api sarvesham. Of all yogis, the bhakti yogi who thinks of Krishna always within his heart is actually greatest. So, as Dhruva Maharaj, the king's son, kept himself steadily standing on one leg, the pressure of his big toe pushed down half the earth, just as an elephant being carried on a boat rocks the boat left and right with his every step. And Prabhupada, the most significant expression in this verse is Prativarbhaka, Prativarbhakaha, son of the king. When Dhruva Maharaj was at his home, although he was king's son, he was prevented from getting on the lap of his father. But when he became advanced in self-realization or devotional service by the pressure of his toe, he could push down the whole earth. That is the difference between ordinary consciousness and Krishna consciousness. This is also a very nice point. If we are Krishna conscious, then our activities are different. In ordinary consciousness, a king's son maybe refuse something even by his father. But when the same person becomes fully Krishna conscious within his heart, he can push down the earth with the pressure of his toe. One cannot argue. How is it that Dhruva Maharaj, who was prevented from getting on the lap of his father, could press down the whole earth? This argument is not very appreciated by the learned, for it is an example of Nagna Matrika logic. By this logic, one would think that because his mother in her childhood was naked, she should remain naked even when she is grown up. The stepmother of Dhruva Maharaj might have been thinking in a similar way, since he was refused to allow him to get up on the lap of his father. How could Dhruva perform such wonderful activities by pressing down the whole earth? She must have been very surprised when she learned that Dhruva Maharaj, by concentrating constantly on the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, would press down the entire earth like an elephant who presses down the bow on which it is loaded. When Dhruva Maharaj became practically one of the heaviest with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his full concentration, closing all the holes of his body, the total universal breathing, became choked up, and all the great demigods in all planet systems felt suffocated, thus took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada is writing, when hundreds of persons are sitting in an aeroplane, although they remain individual units, they each share in the total force of the aeroplane, which runs at hundreds of miles per hour. Similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, the unit energy becomes so powerful as the total energy. As explained in the previous verses, Dhruv Maharaj, because of his spiritual advancement, became almost the total heaviness, and thus he pressed down the whole earth. Moreover, by his spiritual power, his unit body became the total body of the universe. Thus, when he closed the whole of his body to firmly concentrate his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the units of the universe, namely all the living entities, along with demigods, felt the pressure of suffocation as if their breathing were being choked. Prabhupada is giving very technical answer here. Very nicely explained. Therefore, they took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's giving the example of an aeroplane. So everybody who are sitting in the aeroplane, they share the total force of the plane. And but similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, the unit energy becomes as powerful as the total energy. So, and when he closed his all these bodily holes, immediately it affected the whole universe. Everything is getting choked up. This example of Dhruv Maharaj closing the holes of his personal body and thereby closing the breathing holes of total universe clearly indicates that a devotee, by his personal devotional service, can influence all the people of the whole world to become devotees of the Lord. If there is only one pure devotee in pure Krishna consciousness, he could change the total consciousness of the world into Krishna consciousness. This is not very difficult to understand if you study the behavior of Dhruv Maharaj. Wow. So, Prabhupada is actually that is true. When Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, "Pran hai se tu prachar." If you have life, then you will preach. And then devotees they asked Bhaktisiddhanta, "Your Guru Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Bhamaji, does not preach only, just sitting and chanting." And then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says that just by his chanting, he is able to keep the Kali away. Just by his consciousness, he is able to affect the consciousness of whole world. Keeping Kali away means he's not fighting with Kali. Not that Kali is afraid to come near him because of him. No. He's affecting the consciousness of the people. That's what Prabhupada is telling. If there is only one pure devotee in pure Krishna consciousness, he can change the total consciousness of the world into Krishna consciousness. देव उवाच नैवं विदामो भगवन् परानरोधम् चराचराशाखिल सत्त्वधाम्ना वेदेह तन्नो वृजनाद्विमोक्षं प्राप्तां वयं त्वं शरणं शरण्यम्. The demigod said, "Dear Lord, you are the refuge of all moving and non-moving living entities. We feel all living entities to be suffocating, their breathing process choked up. We have never experienced such a thing. Since you are ultimate shelter of all surrendered souls, we have therefore approached you. Kindly save us from this danger." And Prabhupada said, Dhruva Maharaj's influence attained by executing devotional service under Lord was felt even by the demigods who had never before experienced such a situation. Because of Dhruva Maharaj controlling his breathing, the entire universe breathing process was choked up. It is by the will of Supreme Personality of Godhead that material entities cannot breathe, whereas spiritual entities are able to breathe. Material entities are products of Lord's external energy, whereas spiritual entities are products of Lord's internal energy. The demigods approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the controller of both kinds of energies, in order to know why their breathing was choked. The Supreme Lord is the ultimate goal for the solutions of all problems within the material world. Actually, we are trying to conduct a seminar by His Holiness Bhaktivigyan Maharaj. The topic will be problems which science cannot, solutions to the problems which science cannot solve. Maybe in August. So this is the advertisement. Problems, solutions for the problems which science. Maharaj is visiting Hyderabad. So here we want to conduct. So if somebody is interested, you can come to Hyderabad and meet him. Of course, I didn't. Uh, I had to confirm the dates and other things with Maharaj, but mostly it is in 5th to 10th, 11th of August. That's the plan. So if somebody is interested to know the solutions for the problems which science cannot solve. So here, Prabhupada is writing the same thing. The Supreme Lord is the ultimate goal for the solutions for all problems within the world. In the spiritual world, there are no problems, but the material world is always problematic. Since the Supreme Personality of God is the master of both the material and spiritual worlds, it is better to approach him in all problematic solutions. Those who are devotees therefore have no problem in material world. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Devotees are free from all problems because they are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of God. For a devotee, everything in the material world is very pleasing because he knows how to use everything in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Mam Bhishtabhala Tapaso Tatayyan Naivartayasya Pratiyati Swadhama Yeto hi Vat Paran Nirodha Asid Uttanapadai Mai Sangatana. The Supreme Personality of God replied, My dear demigods, do not be perturbed by this. It is due to the severe austerities and full determination of the son of King Uttanamada, who is now fully absorbed in thoughts of me. He has obstructed the universal breathing process. You can safely return to your respective homes. I shall stop the boy in this severe acts of austerities and you will be saved from this situation. And Prabhupada writes here one word, Sangatatman, is misrepresented by the philosophers who says that the self of Dhruva Maharaj became one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mayavadi philosophers want to prove by the word that the super soul and individual soul become united in this way, and that after such unification, the individual soul has no separate existence. But here it is clearly said by the Supreme Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was so absorbed in meditation on the thought of the Supreme Personality of God that he himself, the universal consciousness, was attracted by Dhruva. In order to please the demigods, he wanted to go himself to Dhruva Maharaj to stop him from this severe austerities. The Mayavada philosopher's conclusions that the super soul and the individual soul become united is not supported by this statement. Rather, the super soul, Supreme Personality of God, wanted to stop the Maharaj from his severe austerities. And Prabhupada gives that we please the Lord not by watering the twigs and all, we water the root. So if Lord is pleased, the whole universe is pleased. All demigods are afraid of being totally vanquished by suffocation, but Lord assured him. A devotee is never envious of other living entities. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purport of 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Dhruva Maharaj leaves home for the forest. And we have some. So, what is the meaning of Satam Kripa? Satam means who are meditating on Sat. That's why they are Satam. They are always meditating on the absolute truth. Yes, Sitakant.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Bro,
Prabhuji,
your
is my
voice is
voice
breaking.
audible? Hare Krishna.
Yes, bro. Now it's okay.
I think signal. Sorry to having a weak signal here. Sorry, Prabhuji. I have two questions, Prabhuji. One is regarding the austerity.
Yeah.
Generally, we focus more on bhakti, Prabhuji. Austerity also, I mean, this is like it follows bhakti, like austerity. It includes, but generally our main focus is on bhakti. And regarding like following doing Nirjala Ekadashi and all. Sometimes, when I was in one temple, that there's a Ekadasi time they feast. So generally, I never get inspiration to follow do Nirjala and all. So when I moved to other center, there a lot of devotees are doing Nirjal, including congregation and all. I got inspiration, and I was also doing Nirjal for I mean during that time. Again, when I shifted to another temple, there again Ekadashi feast and all they do. Again, that austerity is gone. So it austerity, like it is affecting. I mean, like it depend on because the influence of the place and other devotees how it is influencing me. So how much really we should do these austerities and how much because religion also will help. Yeah, sometimes I feel
Yeah, austerities, we don't do separate austerities, we only do devotionalities. For us, austerities are Ekadasis, waking up early morning, and all the appearance and disappearance of Acharyas and the Supreme Lord. So that festivals are sufficient to do fasting. Actually, what happened is generally festivals now we should do fasting, and in the evening we should just take something very simple. But because we conduct festivals, and when we conduct festivals, we invite new people. And because we are inviting new people, we don't want to give them some simple food. We give them a feast. So the trend happened in ISKCON what that festival means there should be a feast. Actually, that was
yes.
not actually the that is not the standard. Festival means it is fasting and simple food. But what happens is because we are inviting new people to the temple, for their sake we make the feast, but devotees also eat the feast. So festival becomes feasting.
Yes.
And
I think
Ekadasi is
we should
also
start. Sorry, yes.
Ekadasi is also not for feasting. It is not actually good for advancement in Krishna consciousness. We should fast on Ekadasis. At least take simple.
I really wonder of they make 8 items on Ekadashi day. They're
No,
making
that
all
is not
varieties.
correct.
7, 8 items they make.
No, no, it is not
Uh,
correct actually. Actually, it is for devotees who are in the beginning, na, they can take. For them, it becomes difficult to do fasting. That is okay in the initial stages, but slowly, we should take our personal responsibility because there are so many people now. Because you are in an organization, you have to cater the need of other people. You said, "Arey, you can do Nirjal, but I cannot do it. So how will I do it?" So and somebody says, "Arey, I cannot live on fruits. I need something to eat." So there are different requirements. So in institute, now there are some disadvantages and advantages. Both are there. So disadvantages is like this feasting and all because you have to satisfy other
from,
devotees. So, but you
yes,
have to
from,
take your personal responsibility to grow.
yes, from. So
Very good.
from our, I mean, individually, we should devotee should
Yeah, we
think
should.
we should get opportunity to to fasting and should take advantage of this, na Prabhuji.
Yeah. We should. We should eat less on Ekadasi. That is safe.
And one more thing, Prabhuji, this and sometimes they say like if you cannot do service, you take and do this kind of they give a lot of reasons and all, but somehow I don't convince with that. Okay, and probably one more thing that getting up early and all, like so I personally followed like getting up early in the morning, practicing, try to finish the rounds before Mangalarti and all. But the thing is that the consciousness, probably I like later I realized it after many years. I was doing, but in the austerity mode, I was doing probably, and just I was taking. I was not doing it in devotional mode. So, like, how do we correct? How do we correct project when we do austerities? Okay, is a devotional principle is missing there, or like how do we know?
So
Like after many years, I realized it.
we want to two things because for us immediately to please Krishna, that thought may not come. But at least we should have a desire that let my mind become pure because if you do austerities, our mind is getting clean. That is the advantage of
Yes,
austerities.
Prabhu.
So if I am not
Yes,
eating on
Prabhu.
Ekadasi, I can make my mind clean because any contamination is because of food only. So I am not taking food only. Mind is not contaminated. So it is becoming better and better. So that's how we should take. We should do it for our purification. That is at least in austerities in mode of goodness. If becoming proud means it
Okay,
is
Prabhu.
austerities in mode of passion, and for the pleasure of Lord is austerities in mode of goodness. So we have to at least do in mode of goodness, if not in transcendence for the pleasure of Lord. We say, if
Okay,
I'm
Prabhuji.
doing, I should calculate for myself what I will get. I will get purified. So I'll do it. So that should be the motivation initially, at least.
I may start with a good purpose project to please the Lord and to please the spiritual master. But later, at point of time, because in the community and all comparison comes and all, auto, so certainly this kind of pride and will come from. Okay, I'm finishing. I mean, I'm doing better than this kindness
Actually,
which
we
will not
should know
come.
that they are
But
already advanced. They
yeah,
don't need, we should, when you are looking at other devotees, we should know they're already advanced. They don't need any of these austerities because I am very fallen. I need more austerities to come to their level.
yes,
They have devotion in their heart. They have feeling for the Lord. I don't have the feeling. For me, I need to get more purified.
correct. Mhm.
So for them, why they need austerities? They can happily eat. In Vrindavan, nobody does fasting. All Vrindavan Vajvasis, they are just feasting every day. But the point is their devotion for the Lord. So for us, that counts more than how much austerities we are doing. Because austerities does not make any advancement in Krishna. For Krishna don't need austerity. He need love. Because I don't have, I am trying to purify my heart so that I also come to that stage. So we think of others not doing, when you see others not doing anything, they are feasting. But you should know that they have much more deeper feelings for Krishna than me also. So which is more important than my austerities also. So where the question of becoming proud.
Okay, okay. And one more thing, Roger, Gaurishwara Swami, example, he could change the consciousness of others. So generally, the devotional principle is that the jiva should have the free will and Prabhuji to surrender to Krishna and all. So unless the jiva has the free will to surrender to Krishna or enough agnata sukriti, so how does the others can influence the devotional consciousness in us, Prabhuji? Because I
Actually,
don't
they
have
are
the
stopping their sinful tendencies. They don't want to. Say like if you are going, if somebody is going to a temple. Now, as soon as he enters the temple, na, he at least have some, his consciousness changes. That time he don't want to do any sinful activity. Even after coming from temple also, he will say, now only I came from temple. I should not eat non-veg. I want to go to temple tomorrow. I will not eat non-veg. So what happened? The effect, it is not the devotional mood, but at least the sinful tendencies of the people are reduced because of that influence of. So Kali, keeping Kali away means what? Basically, he is helping them not to do sinful activities. They're losing the tendency to commit sinful activities like that.
okay, but generally enlightening or like devotional Prabhuji, because devotion is a free will of the jiva.
Yeah,
So
that will
unless
not
the
happen.
jiva
Yeah,
has some
yeah. Only
that will
thing
not
is
happen,
saying that
Prabhuji.
that will not happen. Some, if they are coming close to him, that will happen. If they are sitting with him or taking his darshan and by appreciating him, they will definitely get benefited.
Okay,
Like
Prabhuji.
even
So let us say if I have
Mandana Mishra, uh, he was uh, actually Kumarilla Bhatta. He used to perform Karmakanda so perfectly. It is said that people around him, 10 miles around, everybody used to be happy because of his influence. Wherever he goes, 10 miles around, people used to experience certain type of peace and satisfaction. He was not doing even devotional service. He is just doing karma kanda. But even perfection in karma kanda also has that effect. What to speak of devotion?
oh,
Because of one pure devotee, the whole country can be saved. Krishna will be very pleased.
wonderful counsel, great. Prabhuji, and one more thing is the understanding the devotional principle. Yeah, somebody is having the Agnata Sukriti and some devotee comes, he meets the devotee, there is a chance that immediately he may take up to devotional service, and so he will take them. Okay, so I'll take the devotional service and practicing sadhana bhakti. But after going to certain stage, advancement and giving up all our material desires or gnana kanda, karma kanda, all gnana karma, to get rid of all these things. The main the jivas, I mean, in the midst of all three devotees, cannot by their blessing blessings and all, I cannot advance my probably.
No, no, blessings are always needed. Our advancement is only blessings. We cannot do advancement on our own. Guru should bless us, Vaishnava should bless us, Krishna should bless. The blessing is only what we are trying to do. We are attracting the blessings and mercy of Lord and Vaishnavas. That is the only way we can progress. We cannot overcome anarthas on our own. By the mercy only we can overcome. We need mercy. Then when we are serving, Guru is pleased. He shows his mercy. We can overcome, not on our own.
Oh, our own, I mean, by the process, by following the sadhana bhakti.
Process is to get attraction, to attract the mercy only. See, like we tell, na, the child is drowning in water. Now, can he
Yes,
come
Prabhu.
on his own out?
No,
Somebody
Prabhu.
should. So he's shouting, shouting. His shouting will make him come out. No matter how much he shouts, he will drown only. By shouting, he's attracting the mercy of somebody who's outside. So that person should show mercy for him to come out. For us also like that only. Our process is process of mercy. Our sadhana is to attract the mercy. That's all.
Unless we get the mercy of the devotees, pure devotees,
There
we
is
cannot.
no way, no way, no way.
The sadhana process, like just shouting like a child, like
That's
shouting
all.
of a child.
Our
Oh, okay,
chanting
okay.
is like.
Oh, okay, Prabhu. Okay, very fine. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you all very much.